Alright you guys, so you can probably already tell from the title of this video, and I am being honest, this is not clickbait. This is not a video that I wanted to make. And it has to do with the Dodge Dakota RT project that we have behind us. So, as you guys know, we've been working on the Supercharger project, and we got the Supercharger kit from Jason, and it was secondhand. So again, huge shout out to Jason for hooking us up with a bunch of these parts. He also had the Supercharger kit, and it was secondhand from him. He had never used it or installed it either, but he bought it used as well. So we're not too sure on the history of this thing. But what I started to do is I actually received the new belt. So you guys remember on the last video, we had to get a new belt, or at least I wanted to get a new belt just because this one, you kind of see like some rust and whatnot. It's an older belt. I went and got a new belt. So that showed up and I had started to play with it. But then I realized a major issue with the ProCharger that is on this truck. So it was a bit of an oversight on my part, I'll be completely honest. I'm learning as I go along as well with you guys. But I just assume that, you know, it's on there, it fits, it's good to go. And I'm sure you guys probably would almost make the same assumption. But if you guys look, and I'll put that image here right now. If you look at this image, you will see that the ProCharger kit, the housing on it, it wraps around the top. So the outlet for the ProCharger wraps around the top. If you look at the one that we have, I noticed the difference, but I didn't really know that it would make a difference. But if you look, our outlet is on the bottom. And what that means is if you look on the back side, on the actual ProCharger for this kit, it wraps around this way. And if you know how these things work, it's essentially a snail. It winds and compresses the air out the outlet. Well, the one for this truck in application, it is supposed to wind this way and shove the air out the outlet out the top. So what this is, and I called ProCharger to verify, and I gave them the serial number. Somehow, some way, this ProCharger, it's called the head unit, so the actual Supercharger part itself is for an application that would be on a 1998 Mustang Cobra, and it's called a reverse rotation supercharger, which means it's supposed to spin the opposite way than a traditional supercharger. So what all that means is that this supercharger, if we were to run it, is going to be spinning backwards and it won't be producing boost. So when I looked at the impeller blade and just turned it by hand, the impeller blades are actually spinning the wrong way, so it's trying to wind into itself, so it would never produce boost in that form. I also reached out to ProCharger, told them what we were doing, you know, that we built the ProCharged Ram 1500 Hemi, the 2014 that we did. We did step-by-step videos for them, you know, showed how to install the kit, the ins and outs of the kit, different things that we did with the kits. Also took the truck to the track, set some, you know, records with that truck. You know, at the time, I'm sure people have broken the records now, but you know, we set some records with that truck and documented and promoted their kit. Also, we have this ProCharger kit, and I asked them if they could maybe just help us out a little bit with the head unit, and they're kind of turning their backs on us at this point. So, you know, I figured we've been promoting their products pretty well. I figured it would be worth reaching out to them, but we're not getting any love from ProCharger at this point. So the problem we're at right now is with all the different projects we have on the go and all the different money we're spending, I gotta figure out how we're gonna get the correct ProCharger on here. So what we're gonna end up doing in today's video is probably removing this so that I can take some pictures of it and see what this is worth, so we can put money towards the replacement Supercharger. So just so you know, I'll throw some numbers at you guys. When I talked to ProCharger and their tech support, they said there's no way that we can convert that ProCharger to do what we want to do. Well, I guess there is, but they said you would spend more money than it would be to buy a new ProCharger, you know, Supercharger from them. And that's just the actual ProCharger, not the whole kit and the brackets and pulleys and all that stuff, just the actual head unit itself. And when asking them how much a head unit would be, they greeted us with the low price of $3,050 plus tax and shipping, of course, to get that on there. So yeah, that's how I feel about ProCharger at the moment. But on other news, I've kept my promise to you guys. Let me walk this way actually for a second. So I started receiving some of the parts that we've been talking about. So I have our pipe for our blow-off valve. The blow-off valve hasn't showed up yet, but we're gonna have a 50 mil blow-off valve on there to replace this little tiny guy. And also this showed up, which is pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with how this stuff looks. So this is all the piping that we're gonna need to put that intercooler on the front of the truck as well. So we got all our 3-inch piping. So it looks pretty decent. I mean, for just eBay piping, I'm pretty happy with how it looks. So it's all powder coated black, and it's got the beveled edges. So we're gonna have to probably cut this to whatever we need. And also our 3-ply, I think 3-ply, it looks like more than 3-ply actually, but we got our nice couplings here, a couple 90s and a bunch of straights, and all of our T-bolt clamps too. And we got a bunch of different pipes in here. So we'll unwrap that, but at the moment we don't need it because we're at a standstill with this truck. So trust me, you guys, I wanted to finish this just as much as you guys, but that's kind of the circumstances that we're in right now. I also did receive this too. Not that it makes a huge difference right now, but I'll open this. This is supposed to be our bypass for our amplifier that we have for the truck so that we fix our battery drain issue. But that's where we're at. One more kind of weird thing that I'm still looking at on this kit is now I'm not sure what part of this kit is original and not. But it seems like, if you guys can see here, that the belt wants to ride on this nut here that's on the tensioner. So if anybody has one of these kits, let me know. But I'm gonna have to figure that out, because unless I over tighten the belt, it pretty much wants to touch just ever so slightly on that nut, and it might end up shredding the belt. So I know you can put spacers on this to kind of bring it out, but I don't know how much further out we want. I've kind of been playing with it, sliding it in and out. I have it a little bit loose right now, so I can play with this adjustment, but it's still coming ridiculously close to there, which it might end up shredding the belt on. So lots of fun stuff with this. We're gonna go ahead right now for today's video and take this off, since it's not doing us any favors on there, and we're gonna have to start looking for a new supercharger, it looks like. So that's where we're at. Let's get to work. Just before we get working on the Dakota though, I do want to tell you guys, make sure you stick around till the end of this video, because there is some light at the end of the tunnel. I have some exciting stuff that I'm announcing as well that we have coming on the way, and also this weekend you guys will be getting some exciting stuff too for the SRT10. So don't go anywhere, make sure you stick around to the end of the video, but let's get to work first. So first things first, we're gonna end up loosening off this belt so that we can get this off. So I think I've told you guys it is a 1/2-inch adjuster that's on the bottom here. And you also have to loosen a couple bolts in here. There's a 3/4 and a 9/16 that need to be loosened as well. You don't have much movement down here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but small turns. We'll get rid of the tension so I can get the belt off, and then we can unbolt this guy. Okay, so it should be loose enough that we can pull the belt off, and it is. So belt is off, out of the way. I am going to remove our pulley, because I have 2-size pulleys, and usually the new ones don't come with that sort of thing. So most times they don't come with a pulley, so I'm gonna keep our keyway, our bolt, and as you guys can see, we have 2 different size pulleys. So this is a 3.4 and this is a 3-inch as far as different sizes. So smaller it is, the faster the supercharger will spin and the more boost it will make. So that's that part. And then we have a series of Allen head bolts we have to remove. Some guys were asking about, like, you know, missing or anything like that. They're not missing, it's just you can probably see that thread has been used before, so it probably went in a different bracket. But all the bolts are in place, there's nothing loose or anything like that. It's just the fact that it's spinning the wrong direction. So we'll grab a couple Allen keys to fit in there. All right, so we'll remove these top 2 first. And we're gonna have to loosen our clamp here, but we're not there just yet. Got this other big one loose. I don't know, I haven't decided if I can take the whole bracket off. I don't need to take the whole bracket off. Just that tensioner part is still bugging me a little bit. We're gonna have to figure out if there's a way to shave down that bolt, or if for some reason we have the wrong tensioner on here as well. All just little bugs that we're gonna have to work through on this thing. So it's part of it all, you guys, it's part of it. I was kind of excited to get the new belt on, but I realize that we have bigger issues than a belt at this point. So, and remove this clamp, and this should be mostly free now, with the exception of our line. So I'm gonna snip that zip tie that I put on the bottom so that we can remove that. And here's the zip tie I was referring to, or tie wrap, whatever you wanna call it. So that way that drain line can come up. So now she should be out. And that is it, folks. That's the last time that ProCharger is going to be inside the Dodge Dakota. Okay, so ProCharger is now removed. It's sitting here, and we'll have to figure out what we're going to do to resolve all this. But for now, it's removed out of the truck. And let's go ahead and open up this. If I can open it. It's a bag inside a bag. Okay, so here is our clips that we have. Try to figure out how this opens. And here's the two little jumper harnesses that we wanted. It also comes with the stereo harness too, but like you guys already know, we already have the stereo installed. So these two jumper harnesses should just plug straight in over here. Yep, that one works, and that one works. So if that all works as planned, that means we should have a stereo, even though our fuse for our amplifier is pulled. And this is just a straight pass through, so let's see if this works. All right, so I still have the fuse. I don't know if you guys can see it, but the little green fuse is on the floor over there. Let's see if our stereo has sound. Miswiring. That's weird. Never seen that before. Miswiring, it says. All right, so after messing with that a little bit and doing a bit of research, it appears that these little jumpers aren't what we need, at least in my case, for this. So hopefully, I know a bunch of people were asking about this last time, about these jumpers. So hopefully a bunch of people didn't order them, but if you did end up ordering them, it's not the end of the world. You'll just have to do what I am about to do. So this jumper, this loop, isn't what we need for this application. So I don't know how or why they can say on this bag that it works for 84 to 05 Chrysler Dodge Jeep, because what we needed it to do is come out of this harness and go into this harness. So I'm gonna repin these, and it took me some research, and it depends on what year you have, but after looking at this, I found which wires are what from each connector and where they have to go in the opposite connector. So you'll have to do it for 8 wires. So we have the wires here, we just have to jumper them across. So it's gonna have to come out of this connector and go into this connector in the correct spot for your year. And this is 97 to 99 is what I have in front of me. So anyways, I'm gonna do this, jumper these, and then hopefully it works once I'm done. All right guys, so here's what we're doing. So I'm just going through the list, and I can link this for you guys. I found it on DakotaDurango.com or something, one of the forums. And I'm looking at which wire goes from what. And I'm also looking at this just to make it fancy, do it color coded. So the left front positive is the first one I'm gonna do. And left front positive is gonna be a white. So this one's white with black. So I'm gonna remove our white wire, and I'm gonna put it where it needs to go from each one. So what you have to do is you just open this up, and then that allows you to get in there with something small. I'm just using a tiny finishing nail, gentle with it, but pin comes out the back. All right, so I'm not gonna show you for every single one, but I can maybe do a separate video on this if I needed to. But I'm just gonna follow what it says. So C1, which is the bigger connector, pin 4 is left front. So I'm gonna look on here, it's gonna say pin 4. So I'm gonna put in our white wire, which is our left front wire, and it's gonna click inside. So that's that, and then it is gonna go over to here. Positive is 5, so pin 5 on this. Go ahead and put it on pin 5 here. Okay, so we'll plug our big end into here and our little end into here, and this should be our bypass harness. Let's see if we've got some stereo. We've got stereo, boys. That's it. So that is what you're gonna have to do if you want that to work. So a little bit more work than we wanted, but at least the end result was what we wanted. So let me know if you guys want to see a separate video on that. a more in-depth video, and I can show you guys exactly how I did that. All right, you guys, so like I said at the end of this video, I was gonna let you guys know what is going on with some other stuff. So we do still have a lot of stuff on the way. Even though this is a minor setback, there's still a lot of stuff on the way. And like I showed you guys in one of the other videos, so we have the Brembo 4-piston calipers that are coming. Actually, we have them, they're in that box. You guys saw them, we opened them, and that's gonna be for the Viper. So our longtime sponsor, IPSCO, they make a bunch of parts for Vipers and other cars as well, but they are going to be sending us the brackets for the conversion kits for those Brembo calipers to go on the Viper. So I'm super pumped and excited for that one. That's gonna be like, I don't know, really fun, and at the same time it is gonna help the braking power of that Viper tremendously. So I'm excited for that to be underway. And also, you guys are probably getting the hint by now, if we're gonna make the Viper stop better and sooner and quicker, that it is only because it is going to be getting faster. So I'm almost ready to release that, depending on how much of a hiccup this provides us, that we might jump to the next project. But not only that, we still have the SRT10. So you guys saw in the last video, we replaced the brakes. Anyways, I mentioned and hinted in the last video with the SRT10 that we might do something with those wheels, or we might do something else. Well, some stuff worked out the other day, and lo and behold, we have something for the SRT10. So I have the wheels that we're gonna be putting on the SRT10 sitting right there. I just gotta put them on and make that video for you guys. So like I said, a lot of big stuff coming. Once we get the wheels on the SRT10, we have a few other things. I wanna start planning lowering it a little bit and doing the lighting modifications so that we can get that dialed in. So we're gonna clean up the SRT10 as well. Lots of stuff on the way, you don't wanna miss it. Thanks for your support, guys. I really do mean it. And everybody that's a member, all the money goes right back into this channel, you guys. So modifying stuff like this, it definitely isn't cheap. And I like to keep things rolling, keep the entertainment coming, and keep the parts coming. So it's not a cheap venture, but my heart's in it. I like doing it, and 2020 is gonna be a big year for us. One thing I kind of just wanted to touch on, and I'm probably gonna talk more about this in the live chat that we're gonna do as well. So I'm gonna do a live video as well, a stream where we can interact a little bit more. But I'm almost on the fence on what I wanna do, because for 2020, I really have big plans and a big idea. And what that idea is I wanna get like a 2500. So I was almost thinking, and this is all budgets, you know, keeping the budget in mind, if I could actually afford it, which I can't right now. But I wanted to get like a 2500 Ram, like get a Cummins diesel and get a trailer, and have something that we could go to some of these bigger YouTube events. There's a lot of big YouTube call out events that happen kind of on the East Coast and in Florida and in Texas and stuff like that. If we could have a vehicle that's competitive enough to go to those YouTube events and actually compete against some of these other guys, because some of these YouTubers get pretty serious with their racing vehicles. So I don't know if once we put the Supercharger on the Dakota, if it's gonna be in that territory, like, because a lot of these guys have modern muscle vehicles, they're upwards of 700 to 900 to 1,000 horsepower at the wheels, and that's the kind of horsepower we're gonna need to compete with that. And to get that old Magnum engine at that level is gonna take a ton of money to get it there. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Drop me a line down below on what direction you guys wanna see the channel to go. I mean, the funds are kind of limited, so I can only do so much, but I would like to have a vehicle that we could go to compete at those events and compete against the modern muscle vehicles. So SRT10 is kind of out of the picture. It's too heavy. You'd have to dump a ton of money into it to get it to do that. Plus, with it being kind of a collector's edition truck, I don't really want to, modify that too heavily. The Viper, we're going to be able to modify it and we're going to make it faster, but it really isn't set up for drag racing for a few reasons. The suspension's stiff. It's a 6-speed manual. If you're going to go do drags, you would have to have a ton of power to make it drag worthy. And to modify the Viper, you're talking like $20,000, $30,000 easily, just to be able to reinforce the motor to be able to do what we want to do. So I was almost leaning towards maybe like, I don't know if you guys are gonna hate me for saying it, but some of these more modern cars. So even if we're sticking with Mopar, like a Hellcat, the 5-liter Mustang Coyote motors with the 10-speed automatics, those guys are killing it right now. So You know, not that I'm a huge Ford guy or anything like that, but those cars, you know, have a ton of potential. You slap a blower on one of those 5 liters with a 10 speed, and all of a sudden you're, you know, into the 10s, 9s, right with the Hellcat guys. So a lot of different stuff that I'm kind of playing around with the idea of. Also a Corvette Z06 comes with 650 horsepower stock, supercharged. You know, you do a pulley and some injectors and a couple other things, and all of a sudden you're 900 at the wheels, right? So I'm kind of leaning towards something along that nature. Either that, or we try to find a wrecked Hellcat and take the whole drivetrain and put it in the Dakota. That was kind of what I'm trying to think of too. Been looking online, and you can get used Hellcat swaps for $10,000 to $12,000, but not with the computer and everything that makes it run. So that's one of the issues with doing a Hellcat swap. You almost have to have a wrecked car and take all the computer and guts and the dash and cluster and the key fob and all the different modules and stuff them into the whatever vehicle you're doing the transplant on, because otherwise it won't run. So I don't know, lots of options, but definitely drop a line down below. Let me know what your feedback is, because right now we're kind of at a standstill with the blower on this, and that's my big idea or big plan for 2020, is to be able to go to some of these events with something that's competitive. And right now, once we get this running, it's gonna be fast, but it's not gonna be like the modern muscle stuff where it's 7 to 1,000 horsepower at the wheels. So it's kind of where I'm at. Let me know your thoughts. Drop a line down below. Give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. We'll see you on the next video when we figure out what we're doing. Later.